We'll never know if the lives of 4-year-olds Jailani and Ania Tenglin would have been saved if the city's ambulances had been dispatched earlier to the fire in which they died. But we do know this much, as said by the fire commissioner himself.
When we have what we call a working fire, an ambulance should be dispatched. And it wasn't dispatched at that time.
A faster dispatch and response by EMTs could very well have made a difference, which brings up a service that has saved thousands of lives in other countries and cities, but is not happening here.
When I saw this story about these children, I couldn't help but think how many first responders who are trained in any capacity were in the immediate vicinity of these children and didn't know that their services could have been the difference between life and death at that moment.
He's the chairman and main donor to the organization that does this, sends specially equipped motorcycles to emergency scenes.
This is an ambulance on 2 wheels, an ambucycle.
He's the founder of the United Hatzalah Volunteer Emergency Response Group. It's very active on Israel's congested streets, and there it has lowered average emergency response times to just 90 seconds. Compare that with Saturday night's tragedy. That fire, in which the children were playing with a lighter, broke out at 11:50 p.m. 911 was called a minute later, and firefighters arrived 5 minutes after that. Immediately, they followed procedure and called for an ambulance, but one wasn't dispatched until 9 minutes after firefighters were on scene, and an ambulance didn't arrive until 22 minutes after the fire broke out. And then
an ambulance couldn't even get on this block.
The street was too congested. As you can see, that could have been eliminated with an ambucycle. Not only that, the organization that runs ambucycles has an app that immediately sends the closest volunteer as soon as 911 is called.
We very much want to bring this system into New York and all over the world. All someone has to do is ask us, and we will give it.
And that's the problem. Nobody is asking. State law requires that 2 EMTs at least respond to emergency situations, and that means traditional ambulances. So nobody's putting pressure on state regulators to change the situation. Not state leaders, not the mayor, not city council members, all of whom say they are angered over this emergency response situation. Reporting live from the Lower East Side, I'm James Ford.